Manhattan's streetlights were beginning to glow softly, and the sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. Donald Trump, having just finished his last meeting of the day, decided to take a short walk. The hot days of summer were gone, autumn had taken hold, and a light chill was spreading through the streets of New York. Usually he would travel with a luxury vehicle or a convoy, but today, he wanted a change of pace. Walking gave him a chance to soak up the city's energy and reflect on the past. Memories from years ago came to mind. He hadn't grown up in a middle-class household, but the people who had inspired him most, who'd shown him his potential, floated into his thoughts. One of them was his high school English teacher, Ms. Henderson. Maybe today I'll catch a glimpse of those old memories, he mused to himself. Donald Trump's mind traveled back years, to his time in high school. Under the guidance of Ms. Henderson, his English teacher, he joined the debate club and honed his public speaking skills. At first, he was unruly and impatient, but she constantly challenged him, saying, "If you channel your confidence correctly, you can change the world." Ms. Henderson adored literature and the power of words. She would tell her students, "A well-chosen phrase can shape your destiny." Young Donald would rehearse speeches in front of classmates, taking part in debates. Initially, no one took such an ambitious teenager seriously, but Ms. Henderson recognized his talent. Decades passed. Ms. Henderson, once that energetic teacher, lost her husband and found herself buried in medical bills due to health problems. With inadequate retirement income and a series of unfortunate events, she was forced to leave her home and even sell her beloved books. The woman who once guided her students now battled hardship and loss. She lived in a small, run-down apartment with peeling walls and only one window letting in dull light. The table was piled with bills she couldn't pay. Each day felt like a new struggle. She asked herself, "Will I ever have a chance to stand on my feet again?" But no help arrived. Late in the afternoon, Donald Trump was walking through the streets of Manhattan when he noticed a woman leaning against a small cafe, her gaze lost in the distance. She might have been someone easily overlooked, but Trump, driven by a hunch, stopped. As he drew closer, he sensed a familiar face. It was none other than Ms. Henderson, his high school English teacher, whom he hadn't seen since those school days. She was the one who'd instilled self-confidence in him, taught him the power of words, and used to say, "Donald, you can speak up." Yet here she was, dressed in worn clothes, her expression helpless. Stunned and saddened, he called out, "Ms. Henderson, is that you?" When Trump asked, "What happened?" Ms. Henderson summed up her entire life story. From her husband's illness to the hospital bills, to finally becoming homeless, it was a long tragedy. Trump's eyes showed both sorrow and compassion. It pained him that the person who once recognized his potential had fallen so far. People passing by witnessed an unusual sight. Donald Trump, kneeling beside an elderly woman on a bench, speaking to her in a tone of sadness and trying to hold her worn hands gently. Without wasting a moment, Donald Trump called his assistant. "Book a hotel room right away and find a doctor," he said firmly. Ms. Henderson stared at him in amazement. "You don't have to do this," she murmured, her voice trembling. But Trump was determined. Shortly after, a sleek black SUV pulled up. He gently helped his former teacher to her feet and into the car. "Let's get you somewhere warm first. Then we'll sort out all your problems," he added. After settling into the hotel suite Trump arranged, Ms. Henderson began to recover with regular meals and medical support. Her old energy was slowly returning. Trump remembered how she had once helped students develop their writing and speaking skills, including himself. He proposed, "Let's get you teaching again," offering inspiration to young people. Before long, creative writing and public speaking workshops were set up for eager students. Ms. Henderson found new meaning in her life. She was planting the same seeds of confidence she'd once instilled in Donald Trump, but now in a new generation. Before leaving for another meeting, Trump paid one last visit to his teacher. In the hotel lobby, he found Ms. Henderson better dressed and smiling. "I'm so grateful, Donald," she whispered. Trump replied, "It saddened me to find you in such hardship, but at least I could repay my debt of gratitude." Both were moved as they recalled that old classroom and the rise of a young Donald over the years. Shortly thereafter, Ms. Henderson moved into a small but elegant apartment Trump had arranged. She began running workshops in neighborhood schools and youth clubs, guiding countless young people. Her old spark had returned. Her eyes gleamed like the idealistic teacher she once was. Meanwhile, Trump left the city with a sense of peace. For him, far beyond big deals or fame, the most important lesson was never forgetting those who believed in him long ago. He believed kindness was like a circle. In this story, it had come full turn.